Welcome back guys, and today in this video I am going to show you how to set up the front end inside AdonisJS. We would want to use some way to write JavaScript and CSS and then compile them into something which browser understands. Now typically this is done using Webpack, but there is one more package called Laravel Mix, which is a wrapper on top of Webpack, and it allows you to very easily configure things without getting deep into Webpack. So I am going to use that. Laravel uses Laravel Mix for its entire front-end scaffolding, and hence, to keep things very similar, we are going to use that as well. Now, to get started, the first thing which we need to do is obviously install Laravel Mix. Okay, so why don't we do that? We will add that as a dev dependency in our project, and while this is installing that module, the instruction says that we need to copy a file which is inside the node modules Laravel Mix setup webpack mix.js into the root of our project. So we have installed Laravel Mix. Now let's follow the instructions. I will copy the file what is that Laravel mix.js into the root of my folder, and now let's go to Visual Studio Code, and I can see that file over here. Okay, what is there by default is this line which already says that JavaScript can be found here, which should go into the dist folder. SCSS can be found here, should go into the dist. We don't need that. But by default, this file does give you a lot of documentation in terms of what is possible and what is not. But the first thing which we would like to do is configure our public folder. Okay, so mix.set public folder, that will be public. So we are telling Laravel Mix that everything needs to my public folder is this. Okay, so a lot of other things like getting up the images, if the SAS compiler is using them, all those things will be pushed here. So this configuration is important. Once we do that, the next thing which we want to configure is the JavaScript. So resources /assets/js main.js. This is going to be our entry point, and everything will be compiled inside the public/js folder. Then we have SAS. It's very similar. My entry point is going to be this folder SCSS, and then the file name will be also SCSS, which will go inside the public/CSS folder. Okay, now after that we want to do a few Webpack configurations in addition to these things, and for that we have the ability to use this function. So I'll copy it here. It expects an object, so inside that we will have resolve a path, or rather alias, and in that we will have two aliases. One is @, which is going to be path.resolve, the current directory name, and then that is the the starting point, and then resources/assets/js. Okay, this is one path, and the second one is @SAS. Okay, these are optional. I mean, if you want, you can do it. It will help you in your development, because now anything inside resources.js can be addressed with this. So means it makes my life a little easy. Webpack will understand that instead of writing the entire relative path. And if you decide to move around your components, you don't need to always go and change your path because that will be easy. We have done this, and the next step will be based on the documentation. We need to write certain, or rather add certain npm scripts so that we can compile them. Right, this is just the configuration. So we have configured Laravel mix. Now these scripts are required so that we can actually get that thing to working. So I'll copy paste in here. So we have development, watch, hot, prod, and production. For development purpose, we will use npm run watch, and for production, we will do npm run prod or npm run production, whatever is easy. Both are basically the same. However, we need to install the cross env as well, because what happens is, if we are working on different environments, right? I am on Mac. However, on Linux and on Windows, there are certain things which doesn't work properly, in terms of file systems and everything. The cross env really helps in mitigating those problems, and that's why it is highly recommended that you install that plugin and then work with it. Okay, so I have all those things in place, and we are pretty much done configuring Webpack mix to generate files. Okay, so why don't we give it a shot? I'll do node watch. Now I know it is going to complain about certain things, but first things first, it is looking for certain dependencies. It says that it will install Vue template compiler. Okay, it will assume that I'm using Vue, so it will install this, and then because I'm using SAS, so it is loading these things as well. It is doing it by default on its own. It will add those entries in my package.json. We can go there and check. So inside dev dependencies, we had introduced these two, cross env and Laravel mix. However, once we ran node watch, it added these four things, and it said finished, please run mix again. So we will do that, and this time it should fail, obviously, because it is not able to find any JavaScript file inside the resource assets.js folder. So why don't we create that? Inside resources, I need to ensure that I'm not inside Vue. So inside resources, as assets.js / main.js, and one more file which is SCSS, okay, rather SASS / main.scss. So now let me run it again and let's see. Okay, so this is fine. This is the JavaScript. Okay, that was a mistake. So let me run it again. I missed that S. Now it's still failing. It says error in this main.js not found. Resources assets.js main. Resources assets. Resources is fine. Main.js. Everything seems to be fine in here. Let me add a console log. Okay, it's still complaining. Okay, it is primarily failing on the SCSS. So let's look at that piece of the code. We have main.scss, which is fine. Okay, the folder name here is wrong. I generally get a little confused with those, but I think now it should pass, and it did. Right, so now if we go to our public folder, we will have a JS file which has main.js. Here we can find our console.log somewhere. Yes, this is the line which we had added. The rest is something which Laravel mix will do. Okay, and we also have our main.css, which will be compiled from main.scss. So to check that as well, why don't we do one thing? Color. Okay, that was created. Go inside that and we get this. So this is fine. So we are able to generate our JavaScript file and the SCSS file from an SAS file. So these two things are done. Now we need to see how we can show that on this page. We have movies. Okay, and right now it's bootstrap from CDN. So let's go inside our view, layout. I'll remove this. We don't need to fetch the CSS file from CDN, but we will pick it up from style css/main. Okay, hit refresh and we get this red, which means our CSS is loading. Now for the script, like the style, we have script JS main. Hit refresh, do a console, and we can see that the console which I had written is here. Now we need to include the bootstrap as well. Okay, so let's go to npm.js, search for bootstrap. This is what we want. Why don't we install that package as well? Okay, and while it is doing that, let's see which files we need to basically introduce into the SAS file. So I'll check for reference from the SAS file, which is coming with a Laravel mix based a Laravel application. So this is what they're importing. Okay, that's quotes bootstrap, sorry, tilde bootstrap SCSS bootstrap. So that's something which we need. We'll go into our app, main dot SCSS. I'll clear this out. I will import that, and before that I'll import this font as well. And let's just say I'll need this error as well. Okay, and once I do that, if you see, initially when we removed bootstrap, everything was broken, but now it's back again, right? I can search again, should give me the results with that card thingy, or this, I think this is ULLI, right? It's not the card, but this is the card which we had used. So yes, bootstrap is working as expected. We are able to get bootstrap through npm instead of referring it from the CDN, right? We are able to compile that through our Webpack based Laravel mix configurations, and if we make any changes, we will see that. So why don't we do one more thing with this done? Let's just change the fonts as well. So font let's just say body font family is going to be something like this, but okay, no, just leave it. I'll keep it as this. and then I include Bootstrap. Let me see if that works. No, it doesn't. So I think it's just the variables which needs to be before and everything else. I'm really sorry. I'm horrible with CSS. My knowledge limitations is huge in that sense. I just write basic CSS and get going with that. But yeah, so the font is coming. So yeah, I think variables is something. If you look at this, right, variables were on top, and then we did Bootstrap. It's not like these are overriding this, but basically we call it the other way around. So that's where I got confused. But yeah, so we have body with font family, this Google font which we are calling in. So everything is getting compiled, and we have a working Bootstrap based application in AdonisJS. And in the next video, what we will do is look at how we can also include view components inside our application. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, do click on the thumbs up icon and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.